Sometimes, the worst mistake someone makes is thinking you were replaceable. They didn't just lose a person. They lost the one soul who truly saw them, stood by them, and loved them in ways most people only pray for. But they didn't see it. They took you for granted. They thought you'd always be there, always waiting, always ready to forgive, no matter how many times they pushed you away. And now they're realizing they messed up. Big time. This isn't about revenge. This is about rebirth. This is about showing them that losing you was their biggest mistake. And you're not just going to heal. You're going to rise so high, they'll need a telescope just to find the memory of who you used to be. Hey folks, imagine this. Imagine you were a lighthouse, a steady, glowing force guiding them through the darkest storms. And what did they do? They cursed the light for being too bright, so they walked away into the ocean, chasing sparks instead of fire. Now they're lost in the waves, and suddenly your light doesn't seem so annoying anymore. In fact, they'd give anything just to see it again. That's what happens when people mistake consistency for convenience. But here's the truth. They didn't walk away because you weren't enough. They walked away because they never understood what enough actually looked like. You see, my friends, a lot of people love the idea of you. The version that doesn't speak up, the version that tolerates, the version that forgives too fast and stays too long. But the real you, the one who loves deeply, feels deeply, gives deeply, that version is rare. And rare things, they're always taken for granted until they're gone. That's why your silence now is more powerful than every "I love you" you ever whispered. Because your silence is not empty. It's echoing through every room they walk into, reminding them of what they lost and can never have again. And if you're sitting there thinking, but what if they never regret it? Don't worry. Regret has a funny way of showing up when you least expect it. It creeps in at 2 a.m. when there's no one left to distract them. It whispers your name when a song plays. It hits them like a punch to the gut when they see someone else giving you the love they never could. And guess what? That's not your concern anymore. Because from here on out, you're not living for their closure. You're building your own comeback. There's a quote I love that says, "Your glow-up will be the closure they never saw coming." And I believe that, because you're not the same person who begged to be chosen. You're not waiting to be understood. You're walking into a new chapter with quiet confidence and a heart that finally beats for you. This is your story now, not theirs. And every move you make from this moment forward, it's going to remind them of the one thing they can never undo. They lost you, not because you were weak, but because they were blind. And when people realize they let go of gold while chasing glitter, the regret is heavy. So here's what I want you to write in the comments right now. I was the rare one. Say it, show it, own it. Because you were. And if they couldn't see it, that's on them, not you. Now press that like button if you know your worth. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this transformation. And stay with me, because this isn't the end of the story. This is the rise. Affirmation: I was the rare one. Number 1. Disappear like you never existed. Let the silence haunt them. When someone doesn't appreciate your presence, make your absence unforgettable. Let me tell you something that'll sting a little, but set you free. The loudest scream isn't made with your voice. It's made with your silence. And if you really want to flip the script and make them regret losing you, this is where it starts. You disappear, not with anger, not with petty games. You vanish like a ghost they can't chase, a shadow they can't hold, a presence they can still feel, but will never touch again. That's when the real panic begins. Imagine you were a song they used to skip, only to realize later it was the anthem to every moment that ever meant something. That's you. You were the melody they didn't appreciate until the room went silent. And now, every moment of quiet they sit in echoes you, not because you're reaching out, but because you've gone completely still. No calls, no messages, no Instagram stories begging for attention, just nothing. And nothing. That's what drives them insane. Now I get it. Your mind might be screaming, but what if they forget me? What if they move on and never look back? That's fear talking. That's the lie they planted in your head when they left you questioning your worth. Let's kill that lie right now. If you were forgettable, they wouldn't have needed to devalue you in the first place. If you were so easy to move on from, they wouldn't have been so eager to prove it. You know what that really is? A mask, a performance, an act to convince themselves they didn't mess up. Silence is uncomfortable for people who are used to controlling the conversation, and you, being silent, removes the weapon they used to hold over you, your reaction. No more late-night arguments. No more just checking-in messages. No more apologies for things you didn't even do. You're not cold. You're calm. You're not petty. You're powerful. And power doesn't chase. Power disappears. This will be hard. I won't sugarcoat it. You'll want to check their profile. You'll wonder if they miss you. You'll crave some sign they care. But let me remind you, healing doesn't happen in their inbox. It happens in your distance. Every second you resist the urge to break that silence is a second you take your power back. It's a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And eventually, silence won't be a strategy. It'll be second nature. There's a quote that says, "Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers." You won't just see how they respond to your absence. You'll see who you become in it. Stronger, clearer, sharper. You start to realize that maybe their opinion was never the problem. It was your need for it. And once that dies, you become unstoppable. So here's what you do. Delete the chat. Archive the photos. Block if you must. Not for spite, but for survival. Clear the space they once occupied so you can breathe again. Because here's the thing, you're not trying to get them back. You're trying to get you back. And the you that's coming, they wouldn't know how to handle. That version of you doesn't beg. That version doesn't look back. That version becomes everything they secretly feared you'd one day become without them. You don't need closure. You don't need a final conversation. You are the closure. You are the goodbye. You are the end of that chapter and the beginning of a story they don't get to read anymore. And when they scroll through their phone, wondering why you haven't reached out, when they lie awake, regretting the silence they caused, they'll understand what they lost. Not because you told them, but because you didn't. Write this in the comments right now. My silence speaks volumes. Say it loud. Say it proud. Let the world see the strength in your stillness, because that's where the healing begins. That's where the regret starts. And trust me, this is just the beginning of what's coming next. Stay with me, because the comeback is going to shake everything they thought they knew. Number 2, they didn't lose a person. They lost peace, loyalty, and depth. They didn't lose you. They lost the one soul who would have walked through fire just to keep them warm. Let's be real. Most people don't realize what they've lost until it's already too far gone. Not because you weren't valuable, but because they were too blind, too self-absorbed, or too arrogant to see what was standing right in front of them. They didn't lose someone to text at night. They didn't lose someone to hang out with on weekends. They lost peace. They lost loyalty. They lost depth. And my friends, those things don't come around often, not in a world where shallow attention is confused with real connection. You were the calm in their chaos, the safe place in their storm, the one person they could count on when everything else in their life was falling apart. And still, they gambled with you like you were common. But loyalty like yours, that's a dying language. And now that they've lost it, they're starting to realize they don't even know how to live without it. Imagine this. You were a warm fire in the dead of winter, constant, comforting, loyal. And instead of appreciating it, they threw water on it, took it for granted, stepped away like there were better flames out there. Now they're out there in the cold, trying to light matches in a snowstorm, realizing the fire they walked away from isn't coming back. That's not just loss. That's torment. That's regret, wrapped in silence. You weren't just a person. You were a presence. You were someone who stayed even when it hurt, who gave even when it was one-sided, who loved even when you weren't fully seen. And now that you're gone, they're starting to understand the weight of what they threw away. But it's too late, because now you see it too. You see how rare you are, and you're never going to lower yourself again to prove your worth to someone who made a habit of ignoring it. Let's break the lie right now, the one whispering in your mind saying, maybe you weren't enough. That's garbage. You were more than enough. In fact, you were too much for someone who wasn't ready for real. Too deep for someone who only knew surface-level love. Too loyal for someone who only knew temporary desire. They didn't lose you because of your flaws. They lost you because of their inability to value what's real. You were the kind of person who showed up, who listened when they were silent, who stayed even when things got ugly. You gave them the type of connection people search a lifetime for, and they mistook it for convenience. But here's the truth. You were never just a chapter in their story. You were the entire turning point. And now that you're gone, the plot has flatlined. They'll meet others, sure, but they'll never meet you again. And here's the kicker. What they lost can't be replaced. Oh, they'll try, they'll scroll, they'll swipe, they'll seek, but nothing they find will have the soul you had. Because peace isn't sexy until you're drowning in chaos. Loyalty isn't valued until everyone else betrays them. And depth? Depth isn't appreciated until they realize they're surrounded by empty conversations and fake connections. That's when it hits them. That's when the regret cuts deep. That's when your silence becomes their mirror, and they're forced to stare at everything they failed to appreciate. So I want you to stop mourning what you lost and start realizing what they lost. This isn't about ego. This is about truth. You were the rare one, and they treated you like an option. That's on them. Now it's your time to rise. Not to prove anything to them, but to finally live in alignment with your worth. You don't need closure from someone who couldn't even offer clarity when it mattered. You don't need a sorry from someone who didn't protect your heart. You are the apology they never gave. You are the what-if they'll carry with them. Let them carry it. You've got peace now, and peace is priceless. Drop this in the comments right now. They lost peace, not just me. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you that losing you wasn't just a moment, it was a collapse. And they'll feel it day by day, in ways they'll never admit out loud. Stay with me, because the next part of your evolution, it's going to make them wish they'd never let go. Number 2. Let time be the mirror. They can't escape. Time doesn't heal all wounds. It exposes the truth you were too blind to see. Unknown. You want to know what makes people really feel the weight of their mistake. It's not the first day you walk away. It's not the first week they don't hear from you. It's time. Cold, creeping, undeniable time. Because time has a way of peeling back every illusion, exposing every lie they told themselves, and leaving them face to face with one brutal reality. They let you go. And now they're stuck watching what they lost from a distance. See, in the beginning, they might feel relief. They might pretend they're fine. They might even act like they've moved on. But that's just ego talking. That's pride putting on a show, because real regret doesn't hit right away. It shows up when the noise dies down, when the distractions fade, when all that's left are memories and what-ifs circling their mind like vultures. And the longer they sit in that silence, the clearer your value becomes. Imagine this. Time is like a mirror they can't avoid. Every reflection they catch, every quiet moment they live through, slowly begins to show them a version of themselves that they don't like. A version that's missing something real. You. At first, they might not know what it is, but as the weeks pass, they'll start to connect the dots. The way they felt calm around you, the way you always knew what to say, the way you stayed solid when everything else was falling apart. And guess what? They won't be able to find that again, because it wasn't just a vibe, it was you. This is where your silence does its deepest work. It lets time deliver the truth in slow, sharp doses. They'll see your old messages and feel that sting. They'll hear a song, see a place, scroll past your name, and suddenly they're drowning in memories they used to brush off. And that's when the shift happens. That's when the denial cracks and the reality sinks in. You were never the problem. You were the piece. But listen, this part will challenge you. Because while time's doing its job on them, it's also working on you. And it'll try to tempt you, make you second guess, make you want to check in. Just once. Don't. That's not strength. That's fear, disguised as hope. You don't need to break the silence to get closure. You don't need to chase to get answers. Time will say everything you don't. They'll ask themselves, why haven't I heard from them? Why are they so quiet? Do they even care? And those questions will torment them far more than your words ever could. Because when someone expects you to break, and you don't, it forces them to sit in their own mess. And that silence, that's the sound of every lie they told themselves falling apart. That's the sound of regret echoing louder than your voice ever did. And what about you? What do you do while time's working on them? You evolve. Quietly. Consistently. You build the kind of life that makes their memory of you feel like a downgrade. You use every day as a brick to rebuild your confidence, your peace, your power. You don't wait for them to miss you. You become someone they'll never forget. And when they finally do look back, they'll realize they didn't just lose someone they once loved. They lost someone who would have changed their life if they had just appreciated it. Remember this, time is not your enemy. It's your amplifier. It makes your absence louder, your glow-up brighter, your silence deeper. Let it work for you. Let it sharpen your value in their memory. Because one day, they're going to see you thriving, glowing, unbothered, and they'll feel the kind of regret that no apology could ever fix. Write this in the comments right now. Time will show them. Let it be your declaration, not from bitterness, but from truth. Because when you walk away without noise, without drama, and without revenge, you give time the perfect canvas to paint your worth. And that picture, it will haunt them in ways your presence never could. Stay with me, because the best part of your comeback hasn't even started yet. Number 3, evolve so fast. They can't keep up. Your evolution will make them wish they had treated you better when they had the chance. There's no revenge louder than reinvention. No heartbreak cure more powerful than transformation. If you want them to regret everything, and I mean everything, you don't need to scream, post cryptic stories, or throw shade. You just need to evolve. Not slowly, not subtly. Evolve so fast they can't keep up. Let them blink, and by the time they open their eyes, you're unrecognizable. That's how you make someone wish they had never let go. Picture this. You were a caterpillar when they walked away. They thought they'd seen everything there was to see. But what they didn't know was that you were just entering your cocoon. The silence wasn't weakness. It was incubation. The heartbreak wasn't your end. It was your rebirth. And when you finally break through that cocoon, you don't crawl anymore, you fly. And not everyone who knew the caterpillar gets access to the butterfly. They thought you'd stay down, that you'd be stuck in that same pain, that same space, spinning your wheels. They never imagined that the very thing meant to break you would be the fuel for your glow-up. And when they finally check your page, or hear your name from someone else, they'll sit back and realize they're no longer even qualified to be near you. Because you've changed, you've upgraded. You're sharper now, healthier, fitter, focused. Your energy has shifted. You're not chasing people who don't see your worth. You're building a life that reflects it. You're pouring into yourself like you used to pour into them. You're feeding your mind, your body, your soul. And you're not doing it to prove anything to them. You're doing it because you finally remembered who the hell you are. Here's what most people don't get. Transformation isn't just physical. It's mental, emotional, spiritual. It's cutting ties with what no longer serves you. It's reprogramming your thoughts. It's saying no to the old version of you that tolerated the bare minimum and begged to be chosen. That version is gone, buried. And what rose in its place? A force they never saw coming. Let me guess, you've been underestimated your whole life. You've been overlooked, doubted, played with. That ends here. Because every workout you show up to, every late night you grind through, every book you read, every boundary you set, that's another brick in the empire they'll wish they never walked away from. They won't recognize your glow-up until it blinds them. And don't expect them to clap for you. They won't. In fact, they'll act like they don't notice. But trust me, they do. They're watching from the shadows, silently panicking, wondering how the person they thought would break is now thriving in silence. And they'll never admit it, but deep down, they'll whisper to themselves, "I messed up." What's crazy is that the version of you they left was the one that still loved them, still cared, still tried. And now, you're emotionally unavailable to their nonsense. You're focused. You've outgrown the drama. You don't engage. You observe. You protect your peace like it's gold, because it is. And if you ever wonder if the glow-up is even worth it, let me remind you of this. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. Because you deserve to look in the mirror and see someone powerful staring back. You deserve to wake up excited, not drained. You deserve to live a life that reflects your value, and not one that makes you question it. So get moving. Build the body they swore you'd never have. Launch the project you kept putting off. Read the books. Level up your income. Fix your sleep. Declutter your space. Speak better. Dress better. Think better. And do it all while saying nothing to them. Because the loudest "I told you so" is the one you never say. Write this in the comments right now. My glow up is personal. Say it for yourself. Say it for the future you. Let the world know you're not here to play small anymore. They thought you were done, but you were just getting started. Stay with me, because this next evolution of you, it's going to make them question everything they ever believed about what you were capable of. Number 4. Stop explaining yourself. Let results speak louder. The more you explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, the more you drain your own power. Let me say this with no fluff. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth. Not now. Not ever. Especially not to the people who didn't care to understand you when you were right in front of them, giving your best, explaining your heart, trying to be seen. If they couldn't value your truth when you were giving it with open hands, they sure as hell don't deserve a front row seat now that you've risen without them. You've spent enough time trying to make people get it, explaining your worth, justifying your emotions, softening your message so they wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But here's the truth, my friends. The right ones don't need an explanation. They feel your energy. They recognize your soul. They meet you where you are. The rest? Let them wonder. Let them sit in confusion. Let your silence teach them what your words never could. Imagine you're a mountain, solid, still, majestic. Do you see mountains chasing people down the valley saying, "Please admire me"? No, the mountain doesn't move. People either rise up to see the view, or they stay at the bottom making noise. That's you now, a mountain. And guess what? You've outgrown the need to lower yourself just to make others comfortable. They thought you'd explain your healing. They thought you'd clarify your silence. They thought you'd make your boundaries soft again to make them feel better. But this time? Nah. You're done giving explanations to people who were never listening in the first place. They didn't want the truth. They wanted control. And now that they've lost it, they'll come around with their fake concern, their half-hearted check-ins, their "I've been thinking about you" messages. Don't fall for it. Let results speak louder. Because results? They don't lie. They don't beg to be understood. They walk into the room and shift the energy. They speak in confidence, not in noise. They show people who you are now, not through your mouth, but through your aura, your habits, your peace, your transformation, and that silence, that calm energy, that glow. It says everything without saying anything. You see, most people only value the version of you they can control, the version that over-explains, that apologizes too much, that wants to be liked. But that version of you, you buried it. And in its place, you've built something stronger, colder, cleaner. You're not rude. You're just unavailable to nonsense. You're not arrogant. You're just uninterested in proving yourself to people who already made their decision. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need them to validate your journey anymore. You've found a new kind of power. The kind that comes from no longer performing, no longer shrinking, no longer translating your soul into a language they refused to learn. Let them talk. Let them create their own version of what happened. Let them spin their stories. You're not interrupting anymore. You're not correcting the narrative. Because while they're stuck gossiping in circles, you're moving in silence, building in silence, leveling up in silence. And one day, they'll see the results. Not because you pointed them out, but because they'll be too big to ignore. This is how regret is born. Not from drama, not from fights, but from watching someone they doubted, dismissed, or disrespected become undeniable. That's your justice. That's your payback. And it's sweeter than any comeback line you could have ever said, because the glow doesn't need captions. It doesn't need validation. It just is. So from this point forward, no more explaining, no more overthinking, no more defending your path to people who couldn't walk a single step of it. Let your life speak. Let your peace speak. Let your progress speak. Say this with me and write it in the comments. My results are my response. Let that be your new motto. Show them, show yourself, show the world that your silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Stay with me. Because the next chapter, it's not about proving anything. It's about becoming everything. Number 5. Use their doubt as your daily fuel. They laughed at you because they didn't understand what you were becoming, but when they see you, they'll wish they had. You know what's funny? People are quick to doubt what they can't control. They doubt you not because you're weak, but because your power was always quiet. And quiet power terrifies people who feed off noise and validation. When they walked away, when they said you'd never change, never grow, never be more than you were, they weren't predicting your future, they were projecting their limits. And now, it's your job to prove them wrong without saying a single word. Let's be honest, being doubted hurts, especially by someone you loved, someone you gave your time to, someone who saw the most vulnerable version of you. And then they turned around and acted like you were forgettable, like your dreams were delusions, like your love meant nothing. That sting, that's not weakness. That's potential being awakened, because the same doubt they tried to bury you with, you're about to turn it into the reason you bloom. Imagine a fire, not the kind that roars and crackles loud for attention, but the kind that burns slow, steady, unstoppable. That's what you're becoming. Every time you remember their silence, their insults, their lack of belief in you, you're throwing fuel on that fire. Let their doubt be the spark. Let their absence be the reason. Let their coldness be the trigger that sets off the best version of you. They thought you'd fold. They thought you'd break. And yeah, maybe for a moment you did. Maybe you cried. Maybe you collapsed. Maybe you questioned everything. But guess what? You got back up. And now? You're not chasing anyone's approval. You're building your comeback brick by brick in silence. And when they finally catch a glimpse of the life you've built without them, it'll make their stomach drop. Because they'll realize they were the fuel the entire time. See, people who doubt you aren't always enemies. Sometimes they're just teachers, brutal ones, silent ones, but teachers nonetheless. And your lesson? That you don't need their belief to become something powerful. You only needed to believe in yourself. You don't need to fight their doubt. Let it sit there. Let it stew. While you're grinding, while you're evolving, while you're doing the work in the dark, preparing to shine in the light. They're still stuck in the same cycle, watching your progress through the lens of their own insecurity. That's not your burden to carry anymore. There's something raw and real about waking up every day knowing someone out there thinks you can't do it, and using that as the first reason you get out of bed. No alarm clock, just ambition, just hunger, just that voice inside you whispering, "Let's make them regret ever doubting me." But remember, this isn't about revenge. This is about release. You're not doing this to prove them wrong. You're doing this to prove yourself right. You've always had it in you. The fire, the greatness, the next level. Their doubt didn't create that. It just reminded you to unlock it. And here's the twist they didn't see coming. One day, they're going to need the very version of you they didn't believe in. They'll wish they had supported you, stood by you, seen your vision. But by the time they realize it, you'll be too far gone, too focused, too successful, too fulfilled to look back. And that regret, that's theirs to live with, not yours to fix. So the next time you feel the weight of their doubt creep in, flip it, use it. Let it be your reminder that you're still in the game, still fighting, still building. And when you get to the top, don't scream, don't call them out. Just look down with peace, knowing that your silence, your success, and your evolution said everything. Type it in the comments right now. Their doubt is my fuel. Say it like you mean it. Because it's not just a line, it's your weapon. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world what happens when someone tries to count you out. And you come back unstoppable. Stay with me, because we're not even close to done yet. The rise is only just beginning. Number 6, become so unreachable that they regret even playing games. The version of me that tolerated disrespect no longer exists, and access to the new me. That's by invitation only. Unknown. Let's get one thing clear. They never thought you'd change. They thought you'd still be there, just like always, waiting with open arms, answering texts at midnight, jumping the moment they showed up again. They thought you'd play your role forever. The forgiving one, the understanding one, the one they could come back to whenever their other options failed. But surprise, you've upgraded, and now you're no longer reachable, not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually, and definitely not physically. You've become rare access, and people don't appreciate what's freely available. They only value what they can't have anymore. When you were always there, always responding, always proving your love, they took it for granted. But now that you've gone silent, now that your energy has shifted, they're starting to feel that void. And nothing messes with someone more than realizing they can no longer reach you, even when they want to. Think of it like this. Your energy used to be like an open window. They'd climb in and out of your life as they pleased, never knocking, never asking. Now, you've shut that window, boarded it up, moved to a new house with higher gates, stronger walls, and security that doesn't play. They don't even know where to knock anymore. That confusion, that desperation, that's what makes the regret kick in. Let's be honest, this isn't about playing hard to get. This is about being done playing. Period. The games are over. You're not here to be breadcrumbed. You're not here to be someone's second choice. You're not here to sit quietly while someone figures out whether you're worth it. You were worth it, and they blew it. They treated you like an option, and now they no longer get access to the upgraded version, the version that respects themselves too much to entertain the same chaos. And trust me, they'll try. They'll test the waters. A hey message out of nowhere, a meme shared in your inbox, a random story reaction. That's not connection. It's bait. Ignore it, because they don't miss you. They miss the version of you that was easy to manipulate, the one who responded out of hope instead of strength. But that version is gone, buried, and never coming back. Now you're focused, you're building, you're busy. You don't respond instantly because you're not living for their attention anymore. You're building a life that requires your full presence, not one that leaves you waiting for a phone to light up. You don't answer chaos with kindness anymore. You answer it with absence. And that silence, that's the punishment they never saw coming. You've outgrown the part of you that settled for less than what you deserve. You've become unavailable to anything and anyone that doesn't feed your peace. And the higher you climb, the fewer people can breathe where you're going. So, let them regret. Let them wonder. Let them sit in that silence and question where it all went wrong. The truth? It went wrong the moment they thought you were disposable. And now, they'll replay every moment. Every time they ignored you. Every message they left unread. Every time they made you feel like too much. When in reality, you were the exact blessing they didn't know how to hold. And when they realize they can't reach you anymore, that's when they'll wish they never played those games in the first place. Here's your new standard. If they can't meet you where you are, they don't get to reach you at all. No more stepping down just to make them feel taller. No more explaining your worth to people who chose to look away. You've set the bar so high now, they can't even touch it with regret. So type it in the comments right now. Access denied. Say it loud. Say it proud. Let the world know the old version of you has retired, and the new version only entertains what brings peace, purpose, and power. Stay with me, because the most unreachable version of you is the one that will haunt them forever. Number 7. You were the storm they laughed at until it burned down their comfort. They laughed at the storm until they realized it was the beginning of their downfall. They never saw it coming, did they? They thought you were harmless, predictable, safe, the kind of soul they could mistreat and still expect to stick around. They laughed in the face of your silence. They mocked your boundaries. They mistook your softness for weakness and your patience for passivity. But what they didn't realize, what they never imagined, was that you were the storm. Not loud, not dramatic, but building, quietly, powerfully, and by the time they recognized it, you had already burned down everything they thought they could come back to. It's almost poetic, isn't it? How they turned their back on you while you were giving them everything. Loyalty, love, understanding, depth. And now they're looking back at what used to be their safety net, their home, their fallback plan, and finding nothing but ashes. That's what happens when you play with a storm and pretend it's a breeze. Eventually, the winds shift, and what once felt familiar becomes the very thing that haunts them. You didn't just walk away, you transformed in silence. You didn't slam the door, you took the entire house with you. And now, they're left standing in a field of smoke, wondering how they lost something so solid, so rare, so real, while thinking they had all the time in the world. Let's get one thing clear. Your explosion wasn't destruction, it was deliverance. You didn't burn bridges out of hate. You lit the match because staying quiet was slowly killing who you were meant to become. They thought they had you figured out. They thought they could disappear and reappear at will. They thought they could give you breadcrumbs and still expect you to serve them a feast. But when you finally said, "Enough," That's when the fire started, and nothing melts illusions faster than the truth set on fire. You were never the villain. You were the warning sign, the red flag they ignored while chasing distractions. You gave them chances, grace, time. You were patient, believing maybe, just maybe, they'd see what they had before it was gone. But they didn't. They underestimated the damage of your absence because they never respected the power of your presence. And now, every time they scroll past a memory, every time they hear your name, every time someone else praises the version of you they once knew, they're going to feel it. That deep, sinking regret that doesn't go away with distractions. That ache in the chest that says, you blew it. Because you were never just someone they used to know. You were the one they never thought they'd lose. And now that you're gone, they're finally starting to understand what they destroyed. Not a relationship, not a title, but a once-in-a-lifetime presence. You didn't just offer love. You offered safety, vision, loyalty, a future. And now they're stuck in the past, playing reruns of moments they can never get back. And here's the part they'll never admit. The reason they kept coming back, the reason they always circled around even when they pretended not to care, was because they knew. They knew you were rare. They knew no one else could love like you. They knew you were the storm they weren't built to handle. And yet, they poked it anyway. So let them sit in that discomfort. Let them remember every ignored call, every half-hearted reply, every cold shoulder they gave when all you wanted was warmth. You're not bitter. You're not angry. You're gone. And that's what burns the most. You've stepped into your power now. You've stopped asking for closure and started becoming it. You're no longer fighting for someone to understand your worth. You're living in it, boldly, unapologetically. And they're stuck in a loop, haunted by a storm they thought would pass. But instead, became the fire that forced them to face themselves. Type it in the comments right now. I was the storm. Say it with your chest. Let it echo through every version of your past that still tries to whisper doubt in your ear. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that the calmest soul can become the loudest reckoning when it's been pushed too far. Stay with me, because this storm, it's only the beginning of your rise. Number 8. You don't need closure. You became it. Sometimes closure isn't something they give you. It's something you become. Let's drop the illusion right now. You don't need closure from the one who broke you. You don't need that one last message, that long, teary explanation, that fake apology they've rehearsed in their head but never had the courage to say. You don't need any of it. Because you became the closure. You are the ending they'll never rewrite. You're the full stop at the end of a chapter they can't reopen. And that's what keeps them up at night. At some point, you've got to stop waiting for them to come back with a bow-wrapped explanation that makes sense of all the pain. Because they won't. Not because you didn't deserve it, but because they were never strong enough to face the truth. People who hurt you rarely come back to fix it. They move on, hoping time will erase their guilt. But guess what? It won't. Because closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you finally realizing you don't need them anymore. Picture this. You're standing in front of a shattered mirror. Every piece is a memory, a moment, a mess they left behind. You could spend your life trying to fit those pieces back together, trying to make the reflection whole again. Or you could walk away, bleeding maybe, bruised, but free. And in time, that reflection isn't broken anymore. It's transformed. It's evolved because you stopped trying to fix the past and you started becoming the future. They thought you'd always be stuck there, replaying conversations, overanalyzing texts, clinging to hope. They assumed you'd sit in that purgatory forever, waiting for the why. But no, you decided to rise, quietly, relentlessly. You chose to heal without an audience. You chose to let go without permission. And that, my friend, takes a kind of strength most people will never understand. And now they're feeling it. The emptiness, the consequences, the realization that you're not just doing better. You're gone. You didn't move on bitter. You moved on wiser. You didn't leave a door open. You built a new house. And if they ever try to come back, they won't recognize the version of you that answers. Because you've rewritten your own story. You've filled in every blank space with growth. You've become the ending that doesn't need their punctuation. Let's talk about what closure really is. It's not a conversation. It's not a "we need to talk" text. It's a shift. It's the moment you stop checking their profile. The moment you delete the thread without hesitation. The moment you see their name and feel nothing. Not hate, not hope. Just peace. That peace? That's not apathy. That's power. It means you've finally outgrown the chaos they brought into your life. It means you've taken back control. And here's the truth. They know they owe you more. They know they left things unsaid. But they'll never say it. Because saying it means admitting they were wrong. And some people would rather drown in silence than face the wreckage they caused. So let them. You're not waiting for an apology anymore. You're not checking your phone, hoping they finally get it. You've walked away from the fire, and now you're glowing from within. You are no longer in their orbit. And that absence? It's not revenge, it's rebirth. Because the real win isn't making them feel bad. It's finally feeling good without them. It's waking up and not thinking about what they're doing, who they're with, or whether they miss you. It's realizing your peace matters more than their presence. And the moment you understand that, the moment you own it, that's when closure becomes complete. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.